Here is a fact that nobody wants to talk about. Millions of people will starve to death by 2030. This isn't because we lack food or technology. It's because of a deliberate geopolitical choke point that is being weaponized right now. You see oil prices spiking on the news and hear about conflict in the Middle East, but the real casualty, the one that will determine if 363 million people eat or starve, is fertilizer. And this is not an accident, this is architecture. The World Food Programme projects that 318 million people are already facing acute hunger. If the Strait of Hormuz stays closed, another 45 million will be tipped into starvation. That is a famine the size of the entire population of the United States. And here is the crucial point that business undercurrent exists to uncover. The people at the top already understand the system's fragility and they are exploiting it. Back in 1909, two German scientists invented a process that changed the world. Fritz Haber and Karl Bosch discovered how to synthesize nitrogen from the air. While it might sound boring, it is the very reason most of us are alive today. Before this invention, the world could sustainably feed about 4 billion people. Today, our population is 8 billion. That means half of us, roughly 4 billion people, exist only because of synthetic nitrogen fertilizer. Think about that for a moment. Without it, half the world starves almost immediately. This is not an exaggeration. It is the scientific consensus. The Haber-Bosch process is arguably the single most important invention in human history. It's more important than the internet or even electricity, because without it, you don't have civilization at all. But here is where it becomes dangerous. That process depends entirely on natural gas. And a massive amount of the world's natural gas flows through one choke point, the Strait of Hormuz. 30% of the world's seaborne fertilizer and 20% of global LNG, the key ingredient for fertilizer, moves through that narrow strip of water. Right now, that strait is effectively closed, and the world's food system is starting to crack. The Strait of Hormuz is a 21-mile-wide passage between Iran and Oman. It may not be wide, but it is the most economically vital piece of real estate on Earth. Through this single choke point flows 30% of the world's seaborne fertilizer trade, including urea, ammonia, and phosphate. It also carries 20% of global LNG, the main ingredient for producing nitrogen fertilizer. In February 2026, when conflict escalated in the region, Iran effectively closed the strait. Shipping insurance premiums skyrocketed. Vessels began rerouting around the Cape of Good Hope, adding weeks to transit times and thousands of dollars in costs. At the same time, attacks damaged key production facilities. Qatar's Ras Laffan industrial city, the world's largest LNG export hub, took hits. Production is down, shipments are delayed, and prices are surging. Urea prices have jumped 87% since the start of 2026. Ammonia is up 50%, and natural gas prices have tripled in some regions. And here is the worst part. It's planting season right now in South Asia and Africa. Farmers are watching prices climb and are forced to make an impossible calculation. Use less fertilizer and get lower yields, or go into debt. Most are choosing lower yields, which means less food, higher prices, and ultimately starvation for people already on the edge. Let me tell you about a real person. His name is Ramesh Kumar, a 42-year-old who farms wheat in Punjab, India. He has 2 children, a son and a daughter. His daughter's wedding is approaching, and his son's school fees are due soon. Right now, Ramesh is doing the math. Fertilizer costs have jumped. He can either use the same amount and go deeper into debt, or use less and accept a smaller harvest. A smaller harvest means less income. It means he can't pay for school, he must delay his daughter's wedding, and his family will go without. This is happening right now across South Asia. In India, 100 million farming families depend on agriculture. In Pakistan, 38% of the workforce are farmers. They are all making the same calculation as Ramesh, choosing to starve a little slower. But here is what the elites understand that Ramesh does not. This is deliberate. The Strait of Hormuz isn't just a shipping lane. It is a weapon. Whoever controls it controls who eats and who does not. When you have that kind of power, you do not need armies. You need fertilizer shortages and planting season disruptions. You just need to create enough scarcity that prices spike, yields fall, and the global poor begin competing for scraps. And that is exactly what is happening right now. If you find this valuable, this is the kind of analysis Business Undercurrent brings you every week. Hit subscribe, because the next crisis will not be about oil. It will be about food. Let's talk about the numbers, because numbers are where the horror becomes real. The World Food Programme estimates that 318 million people are already facing crisis-level hunger. That isn't cutting back on snacks. That is not knowing when or if you will eat again. If the Strait of Hormuz stays closed, another 45 million people will tip into acute food insecurity. That brings the global total to 363 million. For context, that is a population larger than the entire United States. It is a famine the size of a continent. And the pain is not evenly distributed. Sub-Saharan Africa will see a 17% increase in food-insecure people. Asia will see a 24% increase. These are the regions that depend most heavily on fertilizer imports and have the least capacity to absorb price shocks. Sudan imports 80% of its wheat, and Somalia is in the middle of a severe drought. Both countries have experienced famine in recent years, and both are now facing another one. But here is what makes this different. This time, we know it is coming. We can see it, we can measure it, and we are doing almost nothing to stop it. The question isn't whether the famine will happen. The question is whether we are going to keep pretending we did not see it coming. If you are watching this, you have access to this kind of analysis. That understanding comes with a responsibility. Like this video and subscribe to Business Undercurrent. Because the next crisis will not be about tech stocks. It will be about food. And the people who understand that early will be the ones who navigate it.